So the EB CLI lets you create and manage your Elastic Beanstalk environment from your command line. And so the idea is that it has a prompt wizard that allows you to easily create your environment and deploy it. To install the Elastic Beanstalk CLI, you could just clone it from there. It's a Python script, and then you run it. If that doesn't work, there's also a single command to install it via a package. And I think the recommended way is from the repo, but even in the labs, I ended up having to do it the other way, just because I ran into issues with Python specific versions as they don't seem to keep up with the latest Python version, and then it becomes complicated. The Elastic Beanstalk CLI, for some reason, has grown to have way more commands than you ever need. I remember there only being a handful. Now they have a bunch that I don't know why. But let's look at the common actions. So the first is ebinit. This is where it creates an environment that an application that you configure, but it does not deploy the environment. ebcreate does what init does, but also then continues on to do deploy. You have an option to clone your environment with the same configuration. This is useful if you want to do a manual blue-green deploy. So you create an environment, swap them over. Then there's the deploy command, which proceeds to create the environment. You have logs to get your logs, events to get your events, health to check on health events, terminate to terminate things, abort to stop a current deployment that's in progress, status to get the status of the environment. We have other actions. We have app version for managing application versions. When you deploy versions, it will maintain a list of apps so you can easily go back to older versions. We have code source, which they didn't have that before, but that's if you want to specify if you're hooking up code commit or a local repo. Like they had it before, but it was just part of the initialization phase, and now they have a separate command if you do it after the fact. We have config for managing environment configuration files. I've never had to use that one before. Console to open up the management console. So it's not like shelling into interactive shell, it's just opening up the browser for you. We have labs to provide access to experimental features. I didn't even know they had experimental features, and I haven't seen any. You can list out your environments. This local allows you to run and test your apps locally before deploying it to Elastic Beanstalk. I don't know why you would ever need this, as you could just set up your environment or your development in a way that you could do this locally. I imagine that would run in containers. We have open, which will open up the URL in the browser, whether it's the DNS record or the Elastic IP address. We have platform, which manages platforms of your environment variables, allowing you to create and use custom platforms. Print env if you want to display the environment variables set in the environment. Restore if you want to restore a terminated environment with a limited time frame after termination, which is useful if you make the mistake of terminating something you didn't mean to terminate. Scale, change the number of running instances in the environment. Set env, so set the environment variables for the environment. SSH, which gets you an SSH connection. I always use Sessions Manager, so I see no point in this one. And the swap command, which is for blue-green deployments, switching out tags, upgrading your environment, or setting environments as the default for the terminal session commands. So a lot of CLI commands, but 99% of them you are not going to use. But there you go.